Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting Vlogtober, day 22, Saturday, the 22nd of October. I am coming to you from Wichita, Kansas. This is a knitting blog where I talk about my knitting, my fiber, my dyeing, which I haven't done a lot of dyeing lately. Lots of reasons behind that. But I'm not going to get into it right now. But so Clue 3 dropped on Thursday. I finished Clue 3 yesterday. Well, at least the meat of Clue 3. I have not done the embellishment completely. I've done a couple of embellishments, but have kind of stopped. Because I'm thinking of doing something additional with the embellishments in terms of bringing in another color, but I haven't decided on that. The beauty of it is I can do those embellishments whenever. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to let it go at that, and we'll when I have finished the embellishments, I will show those off. Or if Clue 4 comes out and I'm showing things off, you'll see some of those embellishments. Cryptic enough? I hope so. Boy, I've been very cryptic of late. So this morning, I had an opportunity to chat with Irina Shaar of Fiberchats, and so I will be on her upcoming Humans of Westknits episode, which is cool. I got to chat with her last year. I had an episode with her last year. I'll link that in the show notes below, so that if you want to go check that out. If you have not been watching the Humans of Westknits on Fiberchats, you should definitely go check all of that out, and watch actually all of her other interviews. She has tons of interviews with big names, little names, no names, people that knit, people that crochet, people that create things from fiber. Yeah, she's a very amazing. She's an amazing interviewer. She's fun to talk to. So go check out her channel if you haven't already. And if you haven't been watching her Humans of Westknits series, make sure you go check that out and see the experience that other people are having with the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along. So I don't remember. I think it comes out next Thursday. So be sure and go check that out. I will link her channel down below as well, so that you can go take a look at all that. What else is going on? It's a Saturday. It's a nice, quiet little Saturday. Excuse me, allergies are kind of killing me today. So because I am done with the meat and potatoes on Twists and Turns, I am back to my color craving, and really the point at which I am at right now is the border. So on color craving, the border is knit in the round, strangely enough. So I am doing the in the round border, and I've only have a couple of rows on it, so it's kind of hard to see, but it's in that gray color is where that border is. And I believe the bind off on this is a picot bind off, which is kind of fun, which I really love a good picot bind off. It takes a while, it's a little fiddly, but the effect is always really, really cool. So this border, I am on row 2. I think it's just 4 rows. Yeah. So I only have a few more rows on this to go before I start the bind off, then weave in the ends, give it a quick bath, and then we'll see what it looks like. Because the way this is constructed, you really can't see it in all of its glory until you're done, till it's off of the needles, because there are a lot of stitches. Oddly enough, no I-cord. I gotta think about that. There's not this one. There is no I-cord in this pattern. That's all right. He's making up for it in twists and turns, where there are miles and miles of I-cord. So yeah, so I'm just doing that. Been catching up on watching some fibery YouTube. Watched the Needles at the Ready live, where they recounted their Rhinebeck weekend, and it sounds like they had a wonderful time and a timely moment for that weekend to come in their lives. So if you don't watch Needles at the Ready, definitely go check them out. They are a super couple of gentlemen, a couple that they knit, they crochet, they design, they yarn dye, they craft like mad. So that's, right up my alley. So go check them out. They're a lot of fun to watch. What else? That's about it. It's been it's going to be a quiet rest of my day that I'm aware of. Weather here has turned warm again. It's in the upper 80s, which I think it's going to stay relatively nice here in the heart of the Midwest through, the next couple of days are going to be in the 80s. Then we're going to go back into the 60s, which for October is where I would want it to be, is in the 60s. So, but still beautiful weather. Beautiful, beautiful weather. A little too dry though. We could really use the rain. See, now that I've done the weather report, what else? See, that's the joy of coming to you on a day-to-day basis. You try to invent things to talk about, but there's just not a lot to chit-chat about, because right now I'm really kind of focused in on doing some knitting. Let's say, what am I could share with you what I am watching while I knit, other than the fibery YouTube channels that I love to watch. I have been watching a lot of Tolkien lore video or YouTube channels, and by that I mean folks who have YouTube channels dedicated to the stories and the mythologies of the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, and all of the backstories which come from things like the Silmarillion, the Unfinished Tales, and other writings by J.R.R. Tolkien. When I was in middle school and high school, I was very, very, very much into the Tolkien books, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I reread them over and over and over again, and still love that world. Kind of became re-interested in it of late because of the Amazon Prime show Rings of Power, which is, for what it is a really well done show. The visuals are stunning. The characters are interesting, though I would have to say the Rings of Power is loosely based on the world created by J.R.R. Tolkien, but is not, cannot be construed as being canonical. It is not. The characters are characters that J.R. Tolkien created, but they are not necessarily being characterized in the show as J.R.R. Tolkien envisioned them and wrote them. The stories are loosely based on events that J.R.R. Tolkien created and wrote about, but are not reflective of the writings that he had. So I am of mixed opinion about the Rings of Power. I think they are a great way to maybe draw in some new audiences to become interested in the world of J.R.R. Tolkien because of the visuals, the storytelling, the creation of that world in a visual format. But they get a lot of things wrong and create a lot of things that simply aren't part of the lore. So that's an aspect that both I appreciate and dislike. So one of the things I have learned to do, especially as I have watched beloved stories and characters from literature being brought to life in a live action type of show, is that they are similar stories, they are similar characters, they are similar worlds, but they are totally separate. And I've learned to try and be able to appreciate each for what it is and not try to conflate that the two things should be the same. So the stories of J.R.R. Tolkien, that lore, that universe that he created is one thing, and I love it. It's very engaging and interesting with tons of mythology behind it. And then there are the movies, and then this show, The Rings of Power, and those are a separate thing that in a way use the same colors, bring in some of the same elements from the written text and the written lore, but does something entirely different with it. And so I'm learning as I'm getting older to appreciate each for what it is and not think that they have to be the same. So with that, I would love to see more of the written appear in the visual medium, but that just might not happen. I saw an interesting concept that it'd be great if the next iteration of Tolkien storytelling in the visual medium, in movies and television shows, were to be animated a la, in the style and or in the taking from the example of Star Wars animated storytelling, like Clone Wars, The Rebels, Bad Batch. That they have a huge, great storytelling model of animated that they're able to do a lot of really great things that I think, not necessarily that particular stylistic way, but using that medium as a means of telling the lore stories that J.R. Tolkien actually wrote. I think that would be very interesting. Um, will it sell? I think it would, because I think the storytelling is that compelling. But I mean, that's my opinion as a geek in that world. So anyway, those are things that I have been watching. I'll link some of those. I linked some of those earlier, but I'm going to relink them again. Some of the ones, the different Tolkien channels that I have been following. These are true masters of the lore, the content, and they study the texts, kind of like researchers. And I love that they do that. It's probably something I would have done at a much younger age if I had had this medium. It's probably a direction I would have gone. But instead, I've gone this direction, which is every bit as obsessive for me. Although I don't see it as an obsession as I see it as a passion. But anyway, there we are. So I've filed away about, a quarter of an hour of your day. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off today. Tomorrow is Sunday. I know that Irina and oh shoot, names escape me. But anyway, I know they're doing a live tomorrow for their in a Zoom. I think it's a Zoom environment that I'm going to try and join in with. So that is tomorrow midday-ish. So I'll jump in with that, and then I'll probably do a quick little record up of something, my impression of that. And who knows, maybe I'll have finished Color Craving by then. Anyway, so talk to you all later. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. And depending upon when I upload this, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And until next time.
Well, shit. What are y'all doing? Screwing?
So how about you bring those pretty, pouty red lips over here, drop to your knees, and take me to heaven and back?
'Cause I prefer something larger than a toothpick in my mouth.
Phil, do you think you could pose for me? I think I could work with this.
Are you sure? I've been called a lot of things, but masculine and modern do not rate high on that list.
And that was the great Leslie Jordan, who tragically passed away today in a car accident at the age of 67. This loss actually kind of is hitting me a little hard. I'm kind of surprised by that. But I've really come to see him as an icon of the gay community, especially the older gay community, of which there's not a lot of us over the age of 50, over the age of 60. Hysterical, unapologetic, very much himself. So the clips that I just played were from the first one was from a YouTube show, and I'm going to link that show down below. He had multiple episodes during the pandemic, and then from Sordid Lives, and then his most recent work on Call Me Cat, with Maya Bialik. Definitely a hysterical, funny, sweet character, both on screen and off. From what I've seen of him off screen, he's very, very much how you see him on screen. He definitely gonna miss watching him. But this one's tragic. This one shouldn't have gone. So, take a moment to remember. Go back, find episodes of him on Will and Grace, episodes of him in Sordid Lives, in Call Me Cat. Look him up on YouTube. Spend some time remembering how much joy he brought. All right. I am Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting, and it's Vlogtober day 24. And so I have mostly done clue 3. I'm not done with the embellishment, but I'm going to hold off on finishing the embellishment until I get to the end of the project and know how much of my main color I have left over, because I think I want to use some of that as part of the embellishment. So I have moved on to color Craving to work on that, and I am working on the border, and I am very close to having the border done, but I'll go ahead and show you my progress. Which, now that the border is almost done, I can actually kind of show it off. It's, of course, gigantic. Well, long. It's not particularly big, but it is long. And it is cool. I just really enjoy this. Of course, I have ends to weave in and all that, but I really like how this has turned out. And, of course, that bind off is that Pico bind off, which of course makes it long, take a little bit of time, although really, in the scheme of things, it really doesn't take much longer than an I-cord bind off. So that's where we're at. It's looking so cool. I really did enjoy knitting this. So no additional clue from Stephen on Twists and Turns, which I'm kind of sad about. I wanted more. I didn't want clue 4 to be so gargantuan. But it could be that maybe it was I'm not sure how he releases these clues. And there was some discussion of this in the live with Irina and Martin this weekend about is he choosing the size of the clue based on what he sees on the ground, or was it predetermined that clue 3 was going to be so small? So it'd be kind of interesting. That'd be kind of an interesting little factoid. But the question is, because so many people seem to be behind the clues due to the size of clue 1 being so fiddly, and clue 2 people having some issues with due to tension, due to various things, that clue 3 was intentionally small to give people an opportunity to possibly get caught up, so that when clue 4 drops, most people are ready for it. Maybe that was an intention, as he saw how things were going. I don't know. personally, I wanted more. I think there's a lot more to come on this shawl. I think, as some people have surmised, that those strips on the sides are going to come up and there's going to be short row or some type of grafting in sort of a triangular thing on the wings to bring that up, and then a border to connect it all across the bottom. A lot of knitting left to go. But then again, if it's the fourth clue, it can be as big as it needs to be, because then people will just finish up as they finish up. It's going to take them more than a week, more than likely, to finish clue 4. And so it'll probably take us into November to finish this shawl, which is perfectly fine. And it may take people into the beginning of the year to finish the shawl. We'll see. We have at least 3 or 4 more days till Thursday to see what happens. Yeah, so that's where we're at with all of that. We finally got rain today here in south central Kansas. Probably a good inch, nice and slow. Took all day to get here to rain, and which is desperately needed. Everything has been so very dry for months and months. I don't remember the last time we had rain. That's kind of, and that, that's a long time ago, and it's not just because my brain doesn't work as well as it used to. It means that we actually haven't had any precipitation in forever. So, yeah. So I've been giving some thought to where I go from here in terms of when I finish Twists and Turns and finish up, of course, the color Craving. What am I going to start knitting on? And my gut is moving me in the direction of a scarf, but not any scarf. But let me bring it up here over in Ravelry. It is the Hallgrim scarf by Jamie McCandless. And let me just show you this. Look at that crisp detail of 1x1 twisted rib. I think that is just gorgeous and clean, and yeah, I think that's what I want to do next. And so I need to find a medium to light to bright colored yarn in stash that I can do this with. Technically, it is DK, but I'm a firm believer that scarves can be really knit on any gauge. But I think I do have some DK that will work for this. But yeah. Well, I don't know. Even in a dark color, it pops really nicely. Do y'all do this too? Go check it out in different, see what other people have done. Look at this blue. That's really fascinatingly pretty. I always do that. I always go check it out to see how it's playing in different colors. Oh, did someone turn it? Oh, no, it's still a scarf. No, they turned it into a beanie. Look at that. Too fun. Yeah, that's beyond me. But some really lovely, lovely scarves. So I think that's what's coming up next for me, is the hologram scarf. Anyone want to go with me? Play on that one? Yeah, so I think that's what we're going to be up to. So I hope you were all having a lovely day. Hope you had a great weekend and a good start to the work week. And I am going to probably work on finishing up Color Craving and then hang out and probably make some decisions on yarn for the hologram. And yeah, kind of hang out then. Wait for clue 4 to drop and dive into that. So until next time, may you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Bye.